Welcome into another edition of the Players Lounge inside Carolina's feature, sponsored by Heels4Life. Certainly, heels4life.org. That's heels4life.org. Tar Heel Football Collective that supports the players and gives you, the fans, the opportunity to lend your support, not only monetarily, but also to let these guys sort of step out of their box and do things for the community and Heels for Life. So shout out for Graham and Jacob Price. Taylor Vippolis has joined me, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you see our guest today is Mr. JJ Jones. What's going on, JJ?
What's up? What's up? Appreciate you guys for having me on today.
So we were joking just before we got on air. If you are watching this, you have not taken the opportunity to watch JJ and Caleb Hood's podcast. Check it out. Young guys getting their chat on, letting everybody know what it's like to be a D1 athlete. So that's what I hope we can do here today as well. But don't miss the opportunity to check them out. JJ, let me start out right out the gate. Tell me a little bit about the podcast and why you guys decided to do something like that. Um, and it's cool that the new facility over there has a place for you guys to do it and do it well.
hmm Yeah, so me and Caleb, I think Caleb already touched base on this a little bit in his last interview, but when we were kids, we always looked up what's it like being a football player, what's it like being a Division I athlete, and so we thought, we could use our platform and tell these younger kids what it's really like. And both of us like talking about sports. I love talking in front of a camera. He loves talking about sports, so it was something we both collaborated on. And was like, yo, this is fun. And with the podcast room inside the facility, it makes things 100 times easier versus when we used to be in our rooms with Zoom laptops, just trying to earbuds in as microphones. It was tough, but with the new facility, it makes things a lot easier, and we're just grateful to have that and something we really enjoy.
What are the new facilities like? Because I'm thinking back to my days in that locker room. I just want you to know they used to bring out PS5s for recruiting visits or PS4s at the time, and then they would take them out when the recruits left. And now I see everything that you guys got in there. What's all that like?
Oh, it's just extremely grateful, extremely blessed to have those things because some schools aren't even blessed and fortunate to have a players' lounge first of all. So now we got Papa Shot. It's way more modern. It's got UNC decals all over it. Just a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox One just sitting in the facility. And just four controllers. Like it's something you'd never see before. With the barbershop, it helps out a lot because a lot of guys need haircuts. A lot of people don't get a lot of haircuts a lot, and you can tell in the locker room who needs a haircut. So if you need one, you go up to the second floor. The study lounges because in between classes, we'll get out of practice, but you have a few minutes in between, maybe an hour in between. So it's good to get some work in there. And in the podcast room, that's always an essential. The video room we have, just everything they've added. The new training room looks really nice. It should be finished up real soon. And then we have a new patio deck with a basketball hoop. I know I'll be out there a lot. I know Drake May will be out there a lot, and so me and him will do some one-on-ones out there.
Makes me sick to even hear that, but also at the same time, I am happy. I want to convey that too, that I am happy for you guys. We had couches to nap on and a ping pong table. I think that was about it. The ping pong table was if you were feeling a little crazy that day.
Oh man, I bet.
That basketball court and that patio area is nice for you guys. Um, Elijah Green was on here, and I joked with you texting Joey and Vip. Did Elijah or talk to Elijah? Came out last week, and he sort of talked about being a college athlete and all. How much do facilities like that? And I know people don't. I mean, they say it's just stuff, but how much do facilities and whether it's training rooms or sleep pods or study rooms, things like that, those nice things help a college athlete because I don't think people realize that it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's a
Mhm.
24/7 job to be a student and a college athlete.
Yeah, you hear people all the time, especially on campus. They're saying, "Oh, you guys are spoiled. You get all this." But I feel like with all the work that we put in, all the determination we put all day long, it's not us being spoiled. It's like necessities, like you said, with the sleep pod versus us having to come back to the facility, get our car, drive all the way home, just take a nap. Like that seems really out of the ordinary for us. So with the sleep pods, it's such a benefit with that being right on campus, right at the facility. So everything you need is at the facility. And as a football player, you want to stay in there, watch some extra film, do some extra rehab, do some more treatment. So everything that you need is right there all in one spot. So they can get the best out of us and we can be the best out there on the field.
When you go from high school to college, when did you start to realize that you do have to treat it like a job where, you have to put in extra time studying in the film room and you have to be taking care of your body in the training room? What was that for you like when that switch kind of went off?
I say when we first got on campus my freshman year, they were still babying us. You can come to these workouts just for you guys. But I'd say probably the first spring practice I ever had out there, I feel like I got hurt the first day, and it was like, yo, these guys out here are legit. And I was like, I don't know if I keep doing this. So I went to the training room, and they were like, they saw me, and I was like, yeah, y'all probably gonna see me a lot while I'm here at UNC. But it was probably one of the first moments, yeah.
So I'm gonna back it all the way up like we do with these shows. And again, this is the Players Lounge with JJ Jones. I guess going into your junior year already at North Carolina, wide receiver, Heels4Life.org. JJ, when you started playing football when you were young, sort of tell us the process, because everybody talks about, hey, I want to be a football player one day. What's it like growing up, and then ultimately becoming that guy that was able to play at a high level at Myrtle Beach, and then on to Carolina?
It's definitely a dream come true. I feel like a lot of people have those aspirations to play, NFL football or college football, and then for me to be fortunate enough to even play at this level. As a kid, my ultimate goal, honestly, was play college football because my dad he played at West Virginia in like the early '90s. He played running back, and my older brother he played football. He played at Coastal Carolina, so it was always in front of me of what I wanted to do, what I wanted to play. But I also wanted to be a basketball player. I feel like every football player wanted to be a hooper at one point in their life, but there's not a lot of 6'2", 6'3" centers out there. So that was the end of my hoop dreams.
Do you have a moment where you remember thinking like, man, I made it when you were on campus? Was it like seeing your name on the back of a jersey? Was it getting into a game? Do you have a moment where you kind of had the time to process everything that was happening?
I remember I talked about this with my roommates a lot. There's definitely two moments. The first one is whenever we got our headboards on our lockers of our faces, our name, and where we're from. So I was like, wow, I'm really a part of this locker room. And then the second one was probably my first game, which was the sold out game at Virginia Tech. And I was like, there's no better way to start your college football career than at a game at Lane Stadium, sold out, listening to Enter Sandman. I think I listened to the Enter Sandman soundtrack for like 2 months straight, just picturing what it's going to be like, but you don't really grasp how cool it is till you're really there. And then I just looked around and I was like, man, I broke down into tears. I was like, I really made it. Like this is what I've been working for my whole life, and finally got to achieve it.
What was it like getting recruited in high school? And I want to get back to that Virginia Tech game because I have a specific question about Enter Sandman. But when you're in high school, you're a South Carolina guy. Mac Brown's back at North Carolina. He wants to own the state of North Carolina, which in your class was pretty much all North Carolina guys, except a couple, you and Kobe from South Carolina. What was that recruiting process like for you, playing high school ball and looking ahead to the future?
It was definitely a little bit tougher, I feel like, than most recruits a lot of people have. Seems like a lot of guys I played with, especially on the UNC team, they've had offers since their freshman, sophomore year, and things like that. For me, I didn't start playing receiver till like my junior year of high school. Like I was playing safety at one of my hometown schools down here called Saugasty. And we weren't a great program. I know we produce Hunter Renfro. Like, so when I say Saugasty, everybody knows Hunter Renfro. But there was really no, I guess a lot of colleges weren't really coming through there to see guys, and I wasn't performing at my highest level on defense. And then my dad told me to go to the West Virginia camp because he played there, and I was like, all right, and I'll go. And I told him, I was like, can I just try a receiver today? I just want to see what it's like. I didn't think anything of it. And I went out there and I balled out, and that was the first time I got my offer, and that was right before my junior year. And once that happened, it was like, okay, we need to, get you into a school where you can thrive. So that's when I transferred to Myrtle Beach, and from there on, I started to produce more, started to get more traction from other colleges and stuff like that. So
how important was it for your pops to be able to guide you through it, and then ultimately, when you started to narrow it down where you're going to go, what was that process like?
He was definitely a part of it, just because the first thing he told me, he's like, I've been through this. Like, so, some people aren't fortunate enough to have that mentor or that guardian who understands what recruiting is like. But for me, I had him. He telling me like, okay, these coaches are going to tell you what you want to hear. You need to go somewhere where you're wanted. You know what I'm saying? And so with him in my ear all the time and narrowing down the decision, he supported me wherever school I wanted to go to. My whole family did. So, and that was something I was really grateful for.
It's a pipeline of guys whose dads played for at West Virginia to North Carolina. When I played, Landon Turner, who was on our offensive line, his dad played for West Virginia, and also Mac Hollins' dad played for West Virginia. And they didn't realize it until they were at a game together, and they were like, "Weren't we teammates at West Virginia?" So that was one of the first things I thought when you had mentioned that. But what stood out to you about Carolina, and why did you choose Carolina in the end?
It sounds so cliche when everybody says it, but it felt like home. Like when you really mean it, like I mean it, like it felt like home for me. Checked off all the boxes academically. That's something my parents have always instilled in me since I was a little kid. So the academic side was perfect for me. The coaching staff, I really didn't know Coach Brown a lot through college football. Like I knew he was the head coach of Texas when they won the national championship, but a lot of people down here in Myrtle Beach are North Carolina fans. You don't see that many, but like you can tell that they're really passionate fans. Because here you just see the other Carolina and Clemson fans. So but when I came down here and I was telling people I really want to go to North Carolina, they were like, yeah, that's the best place on earth. Just the amount of connections you have after graduating, and Coach Galloway has put out a plethora of receivers. Like I was a West Virginia fan growing up, so I watched him when he was coaching Tavon, Stedman, Kevin White, Mario Alford. So I saw what he could do, and for me, I want to get to the league, and I know he can produce those guys at the highest level.
You mentioned that you didn't start playing receiver until late in your high school career. What was that adjustment like for you as you're trying to figure out the other side of the ball?
I really only changed because I was like a natural ball hawk, I'd say, in safety. Like I'm not coming down to hit nothing. Like that wasn't me. I wasn't the most physical guy. I'm going for your ankles, but I was catching picks all the time in practice and then during the games, and they're like, well, if you catch the ball this time of a defense, just come over and play offense. And I was like, well, I don't know. It seems like a lot. You got to know a lot of plays and stuff like that. But once I got to my new school and started playing receiver, I was like, okay, this is something I'd be able to build on. And, the potential was there. A lot of coaches saw in me. But being on the defensive side now makes things easier for me. So I understand the coverages, the defenses are playing. If my corner's playing off or he's playing press, I know safety might roll over. So there's a lot of things that help me from playing defense over playing receiver now.
So Taylor wanted me to ask you about the 2008 Meineke Car Care Bowl when Carolina played West Virginia, but
Any
you were
memories
probably
from
like
that?
5 years old, right?
I was really really young, but I think we lost. Well, at the time, me as a West Virginia fan, I think we lost. Is that right?
No, Pat White went
Pat White.
nuts.
Oh, Pat White and Steve Slayton. Whew, them two right there. Them boys is crazy, man.
Hakeem Nicks made one of the greatest catches I've ever seen any receiver make. But yeah, Pat White had a day that day. I think he probably set his career high in passing that day. And yeah, so I was at that game. We're not going to talk about it any further. JJ, you get to Carolina and you sort of talked about your welcome to college moment, getting hurt early, but let's talk about that Virginia Tech game a little bit, because I was always curious. I went to that game sitting in the stands, had always wanted to see that environment. It was coming out of COVID. Those fans, those students were on fire.
Crazy, electric.
It was, yeah. And I can't say a whole lot about Virginia Tech, but that environment, especially given the COVID factor and everybody was just on fire, was nuts. So my question to you is, who made the decision to come out and be on the field for that? Is it just something you guys wanted to experience? Because as sitting in the stands watching, it's like, holy this is nuts. What was that like?
Yeah, it was definitely the players' decision, because I remember Coach Brown came into the locker room and, they asked us, do you guys want to be out there? Because we thought some teams are too scared to be out there when they play that song. So we were like, it's fine. Me, I was like, I want to be out there. I definitely want to go out there. I want to see it firsthand. Just as a college football fan, because that's something a lot of people don't get to experience. But it was something that we all agreed on, and we were out there to enjoy the moment. We all got to, as one team. So it was good for all of us just to, have that memory. But yeah.
There's a YouTube video out there, I guess, of a manager for Virginia Tech. I don't know if you guys have seen it. But he's in the locker room. He's filming it. He runs out on the tunnel. It is awesome. It is very awesome, especially when the music stops and the fans are still singing it. Pretty awesome moment. Your freshman year, you had a little bit of success. What was it like getting acclimated to college? You had Sam Howell out there. You had, that season didn't start off that great with the Virginia Tech game. Just what was your freshman year like, being a college guy, sort of getting into the swing of things, I guess?
It definitely took a lot of adjustments, especially me still kind of being raw as a receiver. There was times out there where I was like, I think I'm ready to play. But the next day I was like, okay, maybe I need to, learn a little bit more. But with the guys that we had in front of me, we had all those people enter the transfer portal. So it was just, it was next man up mentality. And I remember, I think it was like middle of the season, Coach Galloway came up to me and was like, look, you have to get ready. You got to, get ready quick. You're going to have to play. I need you as my next man up. So once he told me that, I wouldn't say I took it more serious, but I just started to hone in on the little things more. That was, just being in the playbook a little more, watching a lot more film, working on my craft after practice. But overall, I thought it was a great learning opportunity for me just to be out there and see what it's like to get that experience on the college football field. And that really built me into, progressing into my sophomore year.
That freshman year, you only have 4 catches, and when you aren't making the impact that you might want to at the college level, how do you manage that doubt that can creep into your mind? Like, can I do this? Can I perform at this level?
Yeah, there was times where I had those doubts, but then my parents told me, because I'd tell them after a game, like, dang, I wish I could have helped the team more. But they told me, don't try to compare yourself to other people's stats, compare yourself to other people, because especially for, being a freshman football player, just to be able to play is a great, huge achievement that not a lot of freshmen get to do. So just being out there and having Coach Galloway and Coach Longo, Coach Mac Brown's trust, just to have me be out there, I just had to, turn that into something positive and just be thankful for me and get the opportunity.
And then you go into your sophomore year, and behind Josh Downs, Antoine Green, you put up 400 plus receiving yards last season. What's that moment like for you when you are seeing the work that you're putting in carry over onto the field and you start to have success like that?
It's really humbling because you can, like you said before, all the work I put in, I finally see it coming to fruition. And, we don't know how the season would have went if Antoine didn't get hurt or Josh didn't get hurt. But luckily, for me and Gabo and Kobe to come in and step up and play early and make it contribute to the team. And, the ball kept rolling. There was no skip beats. We were out there and still playing together as a unit. But it was fun last year for me just to be able to play, make a lot of plays that I wanted to, plays that I knew I could. And then there was times where, I started doubting myself, like, okay, maybe I should do this more, maybe I shouldn't do this more. And then, I know I had a little bit shaky end of the season last year, but, it was a lot of mental things and, self-doubt, confidence was going down. But that was something I had to work on, this past season. Just be able to make sure my mental's all there during the whole season, during the whole school year.
Absolutely, and want to get into that a little bit more. But let me ask you about another environment that was pretty insane, App State. Sort of talk about how that environment was, the environment, and then because Drake's talked about how the students were there when y'all walked in the building, and it's all crazy. But you got to step up, and you and Kobe and Gavo made some good plays in that ball game, put up 60-plus points. Folks only want to talk about what the defense did, but as an offense, what was your experience like there?
I think it set the standard of what our UNC football team was, and just the recruiting that Coach Brown and the offense did. When you look out there, I remember I saw like a tweet a few weeks ago talking about the App State game. We had, probably the youngest offensive team out there at the skill position. You had a bunch of freshmen, true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores out there, scoring 60-plus points on a 6-year-plus defensive squad that was out there. But like Drake said, I remember pulling up to the stadium, and I was like, okay, it's App State. I don't think they might not. I know they're rowdy, but I don't see how rowdy they'll really be. And we get there, and the student section's already doing chants. As soon as we're walking into the locker room, they throwing stuff, saying things, and I was just like, oh, yeah, y'all finna get beat today. Because that really, got my blood boiling. And I was just like, yeah, I love a hostile environment. You know, people ask, would you rather score like at home or away game? I want to I want to score both. Don't get me wrong, but I want to score in an away game to shut them up, man, because that ain't nothing better. Ain't nothing better than that.
You had a career high 69 receiving yards in that App State game, but you followed up against Miami where you go for 80 receiving yards. In that Miami game, you had a 74-yard touchdown, starts the game, very first possession, huge play. You score, you throw the U down. Did you know you would do that if you scored, or did that come to you as you're crossing the end zone?
This is something you can ask my roommates. I think I had that planned for about a year that I was going to do that because I saw that game on the schedule and I was like, oh my goodness. Because like you said, like Sam threw down to you a few years prior, and I was like, yeah, that was so hard. It looked so cool on Sports Center. I was like, if I score against Miami, I'm throwing it down. But of course, I didn't think it was gonna be the first drive. So, you know, I get in the end zone. First thing I do was like, yeah, throw it down. You have to. Like it popped in my head immediately. And I get over to the sideline. Everyone's congratulating me, but they're like, yo, you threw the U down on the first drive. They finna get turned up now. I was like, I don't care. I just scored. I've been planning on doing that. But that was cool.
When we played Miami in 2015, Tommy, do you remember anybody throwing the U down before our team did it in 2015? Because I don't.
I do
But
not. Of course, they didn't have a ton of success against Miami.
No. Yeah,
prior to
that could be part of it. But going into that 2015 game, our offense was just clicking at an entirely different level. Like we knew we were going to beat every team by like 30 plus points if we showed up. And like instead of going over like things in our pregame meeting, everybody's just like looking at each other like, hey, if you score, throw the U down, throw it down. So it's nice to see that legacy continue to pass on. And I'm kind of bummed that we're moving away from divisions and playing Miami every year because that's something like you said, the first game I look at in the schedule is where's that Miami game?
Yeah, Marquise did it in that game that you're talking about, and that's the first time I remember it. Yeah, because I mean the last time obviously Carolina had beaten them since then, but I remember the field goal in 2004 when they were fourth in the nation. But yeah, it's an interesting. Like I told you off the air, I talked to some Miami people prior to recording this, and they certainly remember what you did. So obviously, mid-October is going to be a little bit interesting in Chapel Hill. We're talking with J.J. Jones, Heels4Life, the Players Lounge collaboration here with Inside Carolina. And we always appreciate these players taking time, and especially J.J. right here before preseason camp opens at North Carolina next week, or actually when you're seeing this, they'll be in the middle of it. JJ, let me ask you a question about you're one of the older guys now. True junior.
That sounds crazy.
I know, isn't it? It is ridiculous. And now you're seeing young guys come in. You got recruiting class. I guess it's the second recruiting class that's in since you got there. So what did you learn from Josh and Antoine Green and the older guys when you were young that you're trying to pass down, whether it's in the off season, in fall camp, and spring football, that's helpful for those young guys?
Yeah, especially like you said with the older guys, the work ethic that they put in after practice was something that it oozed how good they wanted to be at the game and how they wanted to be better for the team. So I remember earlier in like my freshman and sophomore years, like I would just after practice, go home, go to the locker room. I'd see Josh and Antoine and Justin Olson out there catching 50 more plus balls and running routes and working on their releases, and I was like, okay, they're working on their craft. They're trying to get better. I was like, I'm trying to play. Let me go work out with them too. So seeing that, and then now, like you said, being an old head, I just want to show the younger guys that we got that it takes a lot of time outside of practice to get better because there's so many things you can work on in practice, but it's so limited. The game reps, the releases, the way you want to run your routes, those are all things that come in on your own time that where you work on. So I want to make sure that the young guys know that you just got to keep working regardless.
What's it like having a quarterback that'll get out there with you every day if you want to do that in Drake? And I know it's not just a Drake thing. It's most college quarterbacks, but you guys, the receiving core, the quarterbacks, the offensive skill guys especially, have sort of created that bond. What's that been like this offseason heading into 2023?
It's been great because you can tell the difference. Because last year it would be Drake texting the offensive skill guy group chat, "Hey, who wants to go throw? Who wants to do this?" That was last year. This offseason, it's Nate, Tez, George Pettaway, Caleb, oh, Drake, Connor, where y'all at? Let's go throw. Like it's us wanting to be better for him. And when he sees that, he gains more trust in all of us. And I think like with all the quarterbacks, if they see that their offensive guys, their offensive playmakers want to get better outside of practice, they're like, okay, well, I'm putting more trust into them, then they're going to work better. Now, if we're all working on the same page, I mean, we're just going to be unstoppable.
For you personally, you mentioned struggling a little bit, had a couple of drops. What have you worked on? What have you keyed on personally in the offseason? Obviously, you do it with your guys, and it helps to have that camaraderie you talked about. But personally, what has been your key and your focus this offseason?
Just making sure I continue to have my confidence and probably just watching the ball in. There was times last year where I thought I'd get a ball on this play and I wouldn't, and I would start being pouty and having bad attitude, bad body language, and then next play I'm like, okay, dang, I should have got that ball, and I run a bad route and the ball comes my way and I drop it. I'm not mentally locked in the whole game. And that's something I've worked on now, just being able to work on myself. I've started going to see some sports psychologists over the summer, do some therapy sessions to make sure, everything I have in my life is all working out, making sure that I have my confidence in myself. And then injury, it was hard for me to go out there and run routes with them and see all my teammates succeed. And you want to see that, but also as the competitor and me, I want to be out there so bad. And that took a lot out of me that I couldn't practice in the spring and, part of the summer. I mean, I'm back out there now, but, I feel like I just have to crank it up 2 times harder than everybody else that's going to be out there this season.
How do you guys handle that in the wide receiver room where there's such a competition to see who plays, who gets starting spots, but at the same time, when you are in a locker room like that, those are the guys that you're hanging out with the most, and it feels like they are an extension to your family.
I think we're all competitors, especially in this receiver room this year. I feel like this is one of the deepest receiver rooms that we've had in recent history, maybe all the way up to that 2015 team. But it's like you want to see your teammates get better, because if you're competing with them and you are going 100% and they're still producing almost as good or even better as you, that makes the team better, and that should be the number one goal for everybody. As long as I'm out there competing and I'm working my butt off and you're working your butt off, there's only 3 spots out there that everybody can play. We got 12 guys in the receiver room that want to be in those 3 spots. Everybody not going to start. Everybody not going to play. So you have to just know that and just be ready for your opportunity. But if everyone's out there doing their thing and they making plays, you cannot be upset about that, because it's making the team better. And that makes you want to get better. When you see somebody doing great, you want to chase that greatness all the times.
You mentioned one of the draws to Carolina was the fact that Lonnie Galloway has had success putting guys into the NFL. What is Coach Galloway like as a position coach?
He's a good guy. He's funny. He is very funny. But everybody respects him because they know what he's done. You've seen his track record of who he's put out. He's one of those guys that, if you've got any problems on campus, car broke down or something's going on with your house, you call him, he'll take care of it. And, he's treated my family like just a part of his family, and being able to know that I have a position coach who will have my back through thick or thin. Yeah, it's really good. Don't get me wrong, he'll get in you now. But I feel like that's what we need nowadays, because everyone says that my generation is a little bit soft, but I feel like we take things a little bit more personal. But it's also good for you. It's constructive criticism.
I'm thinking back to my days when my position coach was Coach Brewer, and he had a few phrases that still wake me up at night where I hear it in my head. Does Coach Galloway have anything that kind of sticks with you?
Yeah, there's a few lines that he says, but I don't feel like getting up early in the morning and have to run for saying that out loud.
Well, this will air on Wednesday after camp starts. So yeah, you probably would be on the steps
yeah.
early.
I try to get up early.
So let's talk about that room. I mean, Josh and Antoine move on to the league. They do what you're supposed to do, have success, and then go on to the next level. And Tez Walker and Nate McCollum join you guys, and you and Kobe and Gavo have been there since day one. Tight bond. Andre Green, of course, came in, and now you get two older heads, I guess, in the room. What's that been like as far as welcoming somebody in? You talk about it's all for the team, but these guys come in to play, and if, to your point, there's three positions out there, and if they're taking two of them, possibly two of them, how's it been sort of assimilating those guys in, but also getting to know them and getting that chemistry with them on the field?
Yeah, definitely at first it was like, we were a little bit skeptical because we were like, okay, maybe we think we could play. But at the end of the day, we know college football is a business, and like you said, they have both Tez and Nate have played a lot more games than we have. So they really have that experience. I know, us three, me, Kobe, Gabo, and then Dre, we played some last year, but when you mean like veteran experience, that's what Nate and Tez bring. But like now, those are like my best friends. Like I talk to Tez almost every day. Me and Nate joke around with each other every day. Especially when we talk about guys that need haircuts. I'm talking about Nate every day. He never has a haircut. But they definitely bring an extra component of competitiveness to the receiving room because we know Coach Galloway brought those guys here to play, and we know that as the rest of the receiving room. So with them coming in, you got Tez, whose speed is crazy. Like people say he's fast, but you don't understand how fast he is till you really are out there. And then Nate, I would, like you say, everyone compares him to Josh Downs. He's, like you said, a little bit thicker, but so twitchy. The way he makes plays, I don't think I've ever seen him. I've seen him maybe drop one or two balls since I've seen him. It's been 6 months. So bringing those guys in, it's going to help the receiving room. I know Drake likes it a lot, and we love that we can have guys that make us want to get better. So I'm excited to have those two a part of the receiving room, and those will be my guys forever.
You get tips on that barbershop room. You get guys in there. You get a cut.
I wish, because there's a lot of guys on the team that need cuts, but hopefully I get some commission off that.
Well, speaking of new guys, you got a new offensive coordinator in Chip Lindsey, and a lot of people on the outside have been looking at that as how will this North Carolina offense look? What has it felt different? I know you've mentioned not being able to be a big part of it totally in the spring, but seeing everything and then ramping up to camp. How's it been different with Lindsey? And we can talk about Randy Clements on the offensive line, but especially on Lindsey's side of it.
You could tell he's more of a guy that wants to be personable, get to know you one-on-one. He wants to, if you make a mistake, he's going to pull you to the side and be like, okay, you did this. Let's work on this so we can be better the next play. And that's what I like to see out of Coach Lindsey. And I feel like he brings out the best in everybody just because he has that respect in the offensive room. I know he's been there for a few months. He got there right before the bowl game, but we see his vision, his way of thinking of how these plays could be designed and what formation we could be in and how he thinks that each one of us fit in the offense. When you see somebody like that, you want to run through a wall for them. So, and I didn't speak a lot with Coach Lindsey before, but of the times we did speak, you could tell that he wants to be the most explosive offense in the country, and I believe under Coach Lindsey we can be that for sure.
Who is a player, as you guys get training camp underway, who's a player that isn't getting talked about now that fans will be talking about once the season starts and gets underway?
I feel like everybody on here has said the same name, and I'm going to continue the training of Elijah Huzzy. So
I'm impressed that you do your homework and you watch these. This is cool, man.
Yeah, I know everybody says Huzzy, but if we didn't have to say Huzzy, I'd probably say a guy like, I don't know. I feel like people know, but I don't think anybody said it. But Kamen Rucker, the work he's put in this offseason is scary. Like he's going to rip a quarterback's head off this season, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did it first week.
So if Huzzy is the guy you don't necessarily want to face in practice, or maybe you do to get better, who's another guy? I've heard Tayon Holloway's name mentioned a couple of
Tayon, yeah,
times.
Tayon, young guy, you can tell that he has all the intangibles to be a great defensive back. You know, he didn't play last year because of his shoulder injury, but you could see now he's one of those guys that has that dog in him. You know, you want somebody as a DB who gonna talk that they gonna say something to you, they gonna be aggressive, they gonna hold you. Like you want a DB like that because you need somebody over there that has a real like a dog in him, and he's that guy. He's that guy, and also I've always been high on Geo Biggers, especially him coming in. He's definitely a veteran for sure, one of the oldest heads. But he's but I've seen the way he's been practicing over the summer and what I saw in the spring of him. He's gonna shake a lot of heads because I know some people don't think he's that guy for us, but I believe he's gonna come in and he's gonna shut down that side of the field.
You've been real gracious with your time, but we have some quick questions before we get you out of here. Who's on your pregame playlist?
Rod Wave, Young Boy, Drake, and New Edition. A lot of the young cats don't know who New Edition is, but
Come on, do you know who New Edition is?
No, I was gonna throw it.
Young.
Oh my God.
I was gonna throw it back to Tommy before you said New Edition. Be like, Tommy, how many of those guys have you heard of?
Yeah, thanks for JJ might be my favorite on this. New Edition, I saw them in concert in like 93.
I did
How about that?
I did an 8th grade talent show, and we did If It Isn't Love and Candy Girl, and we won. So I am an old head at heart.
Old head, old soul. That's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Yeah, Vip, I don't know the others. I've heard of Drake, obviously, and a couple of others, and my children listen to them too. But yeah, I'm not. Who would they be surprised that you're listening to? Not New Edition, because I think that's awesome. You listen to any some guys will bust out some country singers or some
I love country
heavy
music.
metal singers.
Oh, yeah, I love
Who you
country
got?
music. I'm from the beach, so down here in Myrtle, we only listen to country music. It seemed like, but definitely my dad put me on to him probably like 6 months ago. But Kenny G.
Oh wow,
Real classical guy. You throw him in the car, because sometimes you don't want to wake up listening to hardcore rap. Just listen to some Kenny G in the morning. Still get your blood flowing the same way.
Vip, you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
All right, I saw Kenny G and Tony Braxton in concert.
Goodness gracious!
Wow, what a trip down memory lane for you.
I know, really, man. Y'all are making me feel good. I can't figure out if it makes me feel good or feel bad because it was like before y'all were even thought of. It's crazy. All right,
JJ.
we're going out to eat. I'm going to steal this question from you, Vip, because Joey always asks it, but I won't ask this one. We're going out to eat, and there's no bill, or Vip's got the bill because Vip's big time down in South Beach. Where are we going to eat? We'll say Chapel Hill. What are we getting? What's on the menu?
Ain't nothing good to eat in Chapel Hill.
All right, pick wherever you want to go. Let's go to Barefoot Landing at Myrtle Beach.
All right, look, we in Myrtle Beach. We gonna go to Calabash Seafood. If we in Myrtle, Calabash Seafood or Captain George's here in Myrtle Beach. Get some seafood. Y'all like seafood?
I do.
Yeah, man. You can't get enough of seafood. Yeah, we need some more seafood spots in Chapel Hill.
That place was on the corner on Franklin Street, and I never saw anybody in there. It went out of business before it even started.
That's the problem. It went out of business.
And then in training camp or road trips or bowl games, some of those trips are made or lost with who you're rooming with. Who's the best roommate on the road, and who's somebody that, if the coach gives you the choice, hey, maybe we aren't compatible living together, but I love you still.
Yeah, I've only roomed with like 2 people so far. The best person I roomed with was Ty Lee Craft my freshman year. One of the most humble guys I got the room with. He kept everything clean. He's put his AirPods in. He was on FaceTime or he was on doing his own thing, so I could do my own thing. And I didn't room with this guy, but everyone that has roomed with him was like, "Yo, it's been terrible." And it's got to be Andre Green, just because everybody tells me, sometimes he'll leave some stuff out. It'll be a little bit dirty here and there. And he's on the phone. on like a road trip to like 2 a.m. and people trying to go to sleep. So, but yeah, I'd probably say yeah, Andre Green.
Boy, there's going to be some fights in practice.
Oh man, oh man.
What you mentioned the PlayStation and all that. What are you guys playing in there, and does it get heated if you have the opportunity to get it going?
I'm a big Fortnite guy. I know it's a really old game. A lot of kids play it, but I'm a big Fortnite player and FIFA just because of all the new recent trades and with Mbappe signing for almost $1 billion. We all started playing FIFA a little bit more. Everyone starts to play soccer now, but FIFA, Madden, 2K, all the like sports games. There's we'll see. We'll bet like we'll bet a Hershey bar here and there, so you can win this or something like that. But
So I saw the TV screens in there, and then all access they showed it. Who would be the first one to throw a controller?
probably be me. it would either be me or Caleb Hood, because both of us, it's like we don't even have short tempers, but when it comes to video games, I've already broken the TV in my house from playing a video game. So
Wow.
That's why I try not to play in the facility just in case some actually slips out my hand.
You
For
get one of them Wii straps.
For fans to get to know you outside of football, you guys spend so much time in the Keene Football Center. What do you like to do outside of football when you're not in the building?
Yeah, if I'm not playing football, I'm probably taking a nap or
That's a great
probably
hobby.
just doing something along like the broadcasting route. Like I'm always, trying to do internships with news channels, news stations, but I'm trying to just work on my communicating and talking skills all the time. And if not that, then probably taking a nap too. Again, I sleep a lot, so if you see me outside the facility, it's very rare.
Have you taken any classes in the journalism school that have kind of helped you with the broadcasting aspirations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've taken a bunch of classes, especially in the Husman School is so great for a lot of guys, a lot of people who want to enter this field. So I took a sports extra class where it's literally designed as a sports center for like college. So it was really cool. The first year I was working in the control room, learning behind the scenes. I didn't understand how much stuff went into it at first, but you got the teleprompter, person on video, person on audio. I got to learn how all that connects for the show. And then the second year, I tried out to be an anchor. I got to be an anchor and then the women's basketball analyst for the second semester. And it was great being able to research the teams and understand what I want to talk about. And there was some run-throughs where, it was a little bit tough. But once I got on air, like a flip switch for me. It's like when I'm on air, it's also like me being on the football field. Like it's just a switch. And it's something I really enjoy. But that was one of the classes that really helped me out. And it really helped me be able to be on camera and talk about sports and point to a video board behind me and do all that just like a broadcaster would, because that's what I want to do. So it was perfect.
Dr. T?
Dr. Charlie Tuggle.
What do you remember most about the first time that you were on camera and, having that adjustment? Because I once this is over, I'll send you some of my early stuff. Bad.
It's actually really funny because my first ever on-screen like appearance was when I was like 6 years old as a kid. And I had one line, and it was for the local news. They were just recording us for football, and it said, "We'll be right back." That's the only thing I had to say. Well, I did it in run-throughs. I killed it. We're going live. As soon as they turned the camera to me, I froze. And you could hear the dude behind the camera go, "We'll be right back." And I'm like, "We'll be right back." Completely and I was like, I will never, ever have that feeling again. As soon as that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to talk because I'm not letting that happen again. So that was like my villain arc moment to becoming a broadcaster.
So what you're saying is you're coming for our jobs, basically.
I mean, I work with y'all. I mean, it happens, it happens. But
the JJ and Vip show, I could already see it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring out the best of every guest.
We need to get you mic'd up. We need to sneak a mic in there during the game, during practices in the football center.
Yeah, I probably have to cut a few things out, but at least we can make that work.
Hey, we got a mute button and we got edits. I mean, you'll see this and be like, I don't remember that. It's because it's edited, man. It's CGI. Last couple questions for you. What does it mean for you to be a North Carolina football player? And I'll just
It
leave it there. You
means
can
it
run with it.
means the world to me, just because I get a world class education. I play for a world class football team, and I get to play for a world class coaching staff. So, me being I try not my best. I try my best not to take advantage of the moments I have playing for Carolina. Every time I put on that uniform on Saturdays, and I pray and I'm just like, thank you, God, for putting me in this position, because kids would die to play at Carolina. Some kids just want to play because of the uniform. I mean, that's not a bad option either. But for me, being out there is something I've always wanted to do, and being able to play for Carolina, I want to show the Carolina fans that I am happy to be here, and I'm ready to compete at all times.
Continuing off that, Heels4Life, of course, the collective, Tar Heel Football Collective, and folks need to support that. If you want these guys to have success, donate to Heels4Life. It helps them out. It helps the community out. It helps the program out for sure. JJ, what does Heels4Life mean for players like you in this NIL world that we're in?
It really helps us out a lot. Helps out a lot of players, just because you can tell now with the NIL, we have finally are allowed to gain compensation off our name, image, and likeness. So with the collective like Heels4Life, it allows us to reach our fullest potential and take advantage of what we are allowed to now have. And some schools don't even have collectives. So the fact that UNC has one is extremely, extremely, extremely grateful. And we appreciate anybody that donates to the collective. And we just wanted to make sure that everything that has been donated is going in for a good reason. So
that is JJ Jones, wide receiver, old head, Rising Junior.
I'm only 19 and I'm an old head now.
I know, man. 3 years going into your third year. 2023 season should be something to watch. JJ's been a part of a collaboration between Inside Carolina and Heels4Life, where I guess we've done 10, 12 of these maybe. So, JJ, you're the last one that's currently on the schedule. Hopefully we can do something during the season, but we'll figure all that. But, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us and sort of get into what it's like to be a college athlete at North Carolina.
Oh, yes, sir. I appreciate you guys for having me on today.
Vip, appreciate you. Appreciate Graham and Jacob at Heels4Life. And, of course, folks need to check out that collective. It's Heels4, the number 4life.org. They'll take care of you.